Tuesday is the same thing as Friday, but you can't take people down.
Tuesdays
so.
is to make them hurt.
Yeah,
make them hurt.
Real men show up on Tuesdays where you can't take nobody down.
None of that laying and praying.
No.
Only standing and banging.
See, my boy knows.
Hey, what's up, world? It's Desmond Green, aka the Predator. You know, originally born and raised in Henrietta, New York. Shout out Rochester, New York. You know, that's the town, Rochester. I started fighting about 4 years ago. A little less than 4 years ago. Got into it after I got done wrestling. Well, really, it happened in high school one day. I was talking to him, it's my best friend Mike, and you know, the UFC tapes had just started to come out. It wasn't real popular on TV, but you know, people was getting the tapes and stuff, like the VHS. That's how old it was. So I was like, man, these people fighting and they getting paid for it. You know, I'm like, you know, coming from where I come from, I done got into numerous street fights. You know, I can hold my own. I'm like, man, I can get paid for this. I kind of want to do it. And I was already a wrestler, so I was used to that, you know, that combat, you know, that hand-on-hand combat. So, you know, I always had in the back of my head, like, man, I want to get into fighting. And then I went to college for wrestling, and one of my college coaches actually got called for the UFC, the Ultimate Fighter show. And that's when, like, I really started to pay attention to it. I remember my first real street fight like it was yesterday, and only because it was so funny. I got set up by my older brother, and you know, he was looking after me. He had never let nothing wrong go, nothing bad happen to me, but he set me up good. So we had the park in the city behind 16 school. Now you gotta remember, we was raised in the burbs, but all my family from the city, you know, so we, you know what I'm saying, we bred into it. So, you know, my brother's like, hey, tell that dude you like his Jordans. My brother older than me, I ain't know what to do. You know, your brother tell you to do something. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yo, I like your Jordans. And by the time I said it, I looked down, they was dusty, like just killed. So it was a setup, you know, basically my brother's trying to get me to play him. So the dude's like, oh, you trying to talk about my J's? Blah, 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 fight me. I look at my brother, and he like, oh, you gotta fight him now. So I'm like, oh, Lord. So, you know, it's about three of them, and just me and my brother. So, you know, we circle up, and, you know, we start going after. You know, of course, I jump on him, I start whooping them, and then, you know, we break it up, and then, you know, the two other dudes, you know, they was like, oh, blah, blah, blah. So then my brother ended up fighting both of them, you know, whooping up on them, and they went to go get some more people, and we walked home. My aunt came out the house like, oh, y'all want to fight my nephews? And so this big thing, but it was funny.
It's everybody starts to get better in boxing, or want to be a boxer, or want to be that, because one guy was a very quick knockout, and then try to just believe in one thing, in your own style. Your own style will put you through. The rest not. There's all borrowed from somebody else, and maybe it works, and maybe it doesn't matter. There's always somebody who's going to beat another guy, and you're not going to beat another guy, and the other guy beats the other guy. Just do what you do best every day.
Hey, it's crazy. My first time actually in an MMA club or with anybody was like after my first amateur fight. Like my first fight, I was just training by myself on a treadmill. I didn't even have a punching bag. I was still in college, you know what I mean? I had just stopped wrestling, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna take this fight. And then so I took the fight, and I like whooped the dude. It was like I finished him in like a minute and a half. And I met this guy who later on ended up being like, you know, my coach/manager for a year or two, Ryan Ciatoli, you know, big shout out to him. But it was after my first amateur fight, and I got invited to a gym. He's like, after the fight, he's like, hey, where do you train at? And I was like, nowhere right now. And he was like, well, you don't train anywhere, you just fought? And I was like, I'm a wrestler. So, you know, he invited me down to Ithaca, and Bomb Squad is like where I first started. It's the same place John Jones started at. We doing takedowns? I feel like even in MMA, like, I have to train boxing to be great in MMA. But to be great in boxing, you don't have to train MMA. So, you know, I think MMA people have the better advantage there. You know, boxing is just limited. You know, all you're doing is your hands. So, you know, we have to worry about kicks, punches, elbows, knees. You know, I think our mind is trained for so much more in hand-to-hand combat. You know, when we talk about a boxer, you can only just talk about their boxing. You talk about an MMA fighter, you can talk about how great he is in jiu-jitsu, how great he is in boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, judo. You know, there's just so many other, too many other factors and disciplines into it to try to compare the two. You know, like I said, if they fight a regular fight where there's no rules, I think an MMA guy's gonna win every time. Of course, if they just do a boxing match where you're restricting it, so you know what I mean? As I said, who's gonna win a boxer or a basketball player in basketball?
Yo, we out here in Sin City, baby. You know they call me Sin City Toon, so yeah. Fresh off the plane, right into the gym, baby. Dream chasing.